elephant's territory lies to the south. To reach it, the hunters have to cross the treacherous, fast-flowing Ituri River. Although the Mbuti use canoes when necessary, they're not great navigators. The hunting party is made up of 19 men, all skilled marksmen and experienced trackers. The leader of the expedition is not the group's chief. This man has inherited his position and his knowledge from his father. He is one of the very few among them to have already faced an elephant. They know the pursuit may last a long time, anything up to a couple of weeks. Some days, they will walk up to 15 kilometers, primed and ready to strike at a moment's notice. Three days have passed without success, so the hunters turn to magic. One of them has wrapped himself in a thick leaf coat to simulate an elephant. He disappears into the forest, and the hunters chase after him. When they catch up with the elephant, they symbolically put it to death. This ritual victory heralds their approaching success. Once the fatally wounded elephant has collapsed, the leader cuts off a small branch representing the animal's tail. He will offer it to the god of the forest while the other hunters plead, "O god of the forest, allow us to find an elephant. Let us have its meat." The party sets off again. When pygmies are engaged in the pursuit across the forest, they always walk in a single file along the trail of a small animal. This helps to mask their presence. After 7 days of walking, they suddenly hear trumpeting in the distance off to the west. The leader decides to reconnoiter the area alone. But 3 hours later, he's back with bad news. He found and followed an elephant, but had escaped across a river too deep for the pygmies to cross. So the search resumes. This time, the party spreads out to try to find a fresh trail. The smallest clue, the smallest leaf out of place, is a detailed and precise piece of information. These men decipher the forest the way we would do the book. Around noon on the 12th day, they finally discover a trail. It seems an elephant has passed through here at some point during the morning. They're in luck. The animal is alone. There is something the hunters must do before they follow the trail. They cut the branches of a small bush chosen for the thick smoke produced when its leaves are burnt. This smoke is the only way, the Muti say, to conceal their human smell and replace it with an indistinct animal odor. Now they will closely follow the trail, maintaining silence and invisibility. The Mbuti are visibly worried by the noise the film crew are making. Silence is finally achieved. The Mbuti can listen to the breathing of the forest and identify sounds only audible to their ears. When suddenly, the elephant, still invisible in the forest, is quickly surrounded. Aim for the hind legs, the leader shouts to his men. Severing the tendons of its hind legs is the surest way to immobilize it and stop it escaping. For the tiny pygmies whose only weapons are their small spears, this huge mass struggling in the darkness must be terrifying. And they need tremendous courage to dare to attack it. multiple blows, the animal has collapsed. It will not get up again. But there is nothing more dangerous than an injured elephant. They must keep out of its reach during its mortal agony. One of the hunters has ventured close to sever the tail. Gaining this trophy is one of the highest marks of bravery. Increase the number of wounds so it loses more and more blood. Finally, the trunk is severed. A highly symbolic action since the trunk is believed to shelter the animal's spirit. A piece of the trunk will be taken back to the camp as proof that the brave hunters have succeeded in slaying an elephant. Four of the youngest hunters are chosen to deliver the good news. Their journey will be long, but the group must be reassured. They will also take some meat, a foretaste of the coming feasts. An elephant of this size will feed the entire Mbuti group, 80 people, for 2 weeks. Upon the messenger's arrival, the rest of the group, mainly women and children, set off to join the hunters. They arrived 3 days after the elephant was killed. It's been 14 days since the start of the hunt. The children are allowed to play around the huge beast and to climb the carcass, to understand better their father's bravery, and to see closely the animal they too will have to face one day. The flesh from the head, regarded as a choice morsel, is given to the hunter who threw the first spear. He enjoys the raw meat under the watchful eyes of the whole group. The band's chief and the hunter who led the pursuit receive the most tender parts of the hind legs, another delicacy. The rest of the meat will then be divided equally amongst the others. Everybody gorges themselves on the spot, almost to the point of illness. The remaining meat will then be smoked to preserve it for future consumption, normally within 2 to 4 weeks. Once the stamp of meat has been cooked and smoked, which represents 3 days' work, it's time to go. They will cross the Ituri River again, and instead of stopping at Camp 6, will carry on to Camp 7. As they walk, the Mbuti sing to thank the forest. They believe the forest hears their songs, and they express their gratitude for providing so much meat and sparing the hunters' lives. No sooner have they reached the new camp than an incident occurs. 3 boys have got into a fight and beaten each other up. But Mbuti tradition expressly forbids quarreling and fighting among both adults and children. The culprits must be punished. Whipping, not too harshly, is the normal sentence, noisily approved of by an lawmaker. In fact, the victim's pride is more deeply hurt than his body. The problem is that the other 2 boys involved in the fight cannot be found anywhere. They're probably hiding out in the forest. In such a case, their elder brothers will pay for them. Once punishment has been meted out, everything is forgotten, and the course of life can resume. The women clap to express their approval of the way the chief enforced respect for Mbuti tradition. The time has come to get ready to leave for Camp 8. The last stage of their never-ending circular journey through the forest. All this was true when this film was shot 30 years ago. Since then, the Mbuti nomads have all but disappeared. Many have been forced to settle in permanent villages, incompatible with their way of life, and have, as a result, lost their spirit and identity. This, combined with the devastation caused by the violent political upheavals of the region, means that the Mbuti will soon be no more than a memory.